Yeah, hello everybody, and welcome to the Podolsky Method Podcast. Another Wednesday night, and this is your host and creator for the Podolsky Method, Ilya. I'm a CPA, level 4 certified coach, and lead instructor for the Junior Rangers. I run a ski sharpening shop called Sharp Ski New York, and I have a wonderful guest and my dear friend Anton back. He's an IFBB Pro, five-time Mr. Olympia, competitor, coach, personal trainer, motivator, demotivator, whatever you want, really, he can do. So, Anton, man,
What
it's
a
great to have you back.
what's a demotivator?
I don't know, but I just thought of that one.
Ugh. What's up, guys and girls?
Let me get excited.
Glad to be back. How's it going?
Yeah, man. So tell me, what you've been up to since our last podcast. I know you've been up to a lot, so tell the viewers.
Yeah, what's up, viewers? So last time me and Ilya spoke, think um, I think I was getting ready to compete, right?
Yeah.
So I'm finished with my contests. Usually, what happens, like if you're in bodybuilding and the fitness industry, what happens is you do a couple of shows, then you do an off season, and then the off season is when you make your progress. Is when you grow. You go back to the drawing board and you uh, figure out a plan on what you could do better for your next show. So you gain a little weight. In my case, I gained 30 pounds so far. Um,
Mhm.
so my stage weight is 182, and I'm 112, 212 now. So yeah,
Where did it go?
uh, everywhere, man. Well, first of all, when you're like down to 5% body fat, which is what I was at the show. You have like literally almost no fat distributed along among your body, and then also you cut down the water, so you're completely dehydrated and you have very little water in your body. So a lot of it is water retention. Like you gain everything, you gain a lot of your weight back. So naturally, I walk around at like two, like 198, you know, and then so I gained my weight back in 3 days. I gained 22 pounds.
What did you eat to get
I, I
22
ate a
pounds?
I ate a lot of cookies. I ate, and not just regular cookies, special cookies. These are the cookies that like it's basically like eating a meal. They're called My Cookie Dealer, and they're around 1,500 calories each cookie. They have, I don't know if you speak macros, but they're like 180 grams of carbs, like 120 grams of sugar, uh, like 85, 90 grams of fat. They're really not good for you at all. Like just don't eat them. But I needed to gain some weight because you know I had to I had to get my weight up, so I have to be bigger at my next show. So that's my goal is to get bigger and bigger and bigger. And so like that's what I've been up to. And like you can even see like my face when I was doing your interview, my face was just like yeah,
Yeah.
so sunken in and no just bags under my eyes. And now I'm just like fluffy and it feels good. It feels good to be fluffy. but
I love that analogy. It's interesting because off season, happens in every sport,
yeah,
and it's funny how now, like in hockey world, people say there is no off season because you go year round and you play all the time. But I think off season is a huge part of development, just like what you said.
right. That's when you make the improvements, right? And then you
Yeah.
showcase them when you're playing a game or you go on stage to show what you've been working with the entire year. You polish your skills, right? So that's the whole idea. So that's what I've been up to, man. As far as my schedule being crazy, it's still crazy because literally I finished my clients. I had like 7 clients today that I had to train. Besides that, I'm working as a photographer, so I had a photo shoot. I had a bunch of stuff I needed to do. I had 2 conference calls. I'm like working on contracts to work with supplement companies and like all this stuff. And I literally just finished 5 minutes ago. And you call like right when you called me, I was finished. I was saying bye to my last client. And so as far as my schedule, that didn't change. It's still crazy. I'm like still all over the place. Never have time for anything. So that's good though, man. Gotta hustle. That's the New York thing. That's the hustle. I can't let that go, man.
You can take the boy out of New York, but you can't take
Yeah.
New York out of the boy.
Well, everybody says, oh, when you move to Florida, you're going to slow down. It's a slow down. Man, when you've lived in New York for such a long time, you have that New York mentality, man. You just want to hustle and grind 24/7. I don't know. I don't know how not to work. It just makes me miserable when I'm sitting around doing nothing, unless I've burned myself out with work, and then I feel like I earned it. So a lot of people are like, you shouldn't get to that level. You shouldn't burn yourself out so much, but it works for me. Then I feel like I earned it and I can completely relax. My body, my mind, my soul, I'm just like dead. Don't talk to me for 2 days. So I feel like, that's super necessary.
Dude, I can so relate because you know me, I'm like that too. Like I grind till my body kind of just gives out and goes, "That's it." Like, and then I'll sleep for like 14
Yeah.
hours straight.
Well, I also like, it's kind of funny, but like, I don't know if this has anything to do with it, but, we both the same age, so we're 38 now. And when I turned 38, and I don't know if this is the same for you, but I feel like I'm like, man, I need to get all this stuff done because I don't know if I'm gonna get the opportunity to. Basically, I sound when I talk to myself, I sound like I'm talking to an 80-year-old man. Like, you don't have a lot of time, young kid. You don't have a lot of time, buddy. You better get this done because you don't know what's gonna happen later on. Time flies. So I have these little pep talks with myself, and I'm just kind of like, an opportunity arises, and I'm jumping in on that. I mean, that's how I got most of the things that I wanted to in life. Is just like when an opportunity presents itself, I never say no. Just do it. You do it. You do it. You do it. Because you never really know. I'll slow down like when I'm probably never, but it's good to think like, oh, when I have enough saved up, or when I retire in Monaco, or whatever, I'm gonna slow down. It's never the case. It's never gonna happen. Not with what I do, at least. And knowing myself, that's a good thing. Because I have things I need to strive towards.
Yeah, I honestly cannot see like retirement. Like I
Yeah.
don't know what that would look like. I think we'd be coaching hockey and you'd still be coaching and lifting weights and probably competing in 80 plus division.
Mhm.
I'd be competing in 80 plus on the ice. You'd be competing 80 plus,
There
on
you
the
go.
stage.
Maybe
But
this time you guys, if I qualify for the Olympia again when we're 80 years old, maybe you guys can come.
yeah, hey, listen, if you qualify, the next qualification you get, how about this? I'll go. I'm gonna come. I'm gonna make you a promise right now. We'll do a live show.
Wow.
We'll do a live show from Vegas together during Mr. Olympia.
Don't even say that, man. Five, five Olympias I've competed in. Five. This guy right here. I'm pointing at you. Where are you? Right here. This guy. This wait. This
well,
guy
I happen to have
never.
three
And it's
children
in
during the
Vegas.
time you competed.
Uh, like it's a once in a lifetime that you know. Ah.
5 times, once in a lifetime.
Okay, Ilya. I can't even explain to you how many people, what small percentage makes it to the Olympia, and then how much of a fraction of that small percentage makes it to the Olympia 5 times.
So here's your motivation for number 6.
Oh
You
yeah,
make it. I'm
make you
coming.
guys happy. Okay, cool.
No, no,
So,
like I'm coming. I don't care about anybody else. I'm gonna go.
all right,
It's
sounds good.
official. It's on TV. You can play this back and be like,
Oh, this is
"Hey,
the TV. Is this what channel
what?
is this?
This is pretty much the most famous
This is the
channel."
man. This is the man channel. The mantle.
Jane added we was having babies.
Oh, okay. All
Sorry,
right.
she's
Wow, good
watching.
excuse. Good one.
Because
um,
we're overachievers. We can't just
yeah. No,
we,
it's all good. It's all good. I get it. Babies are important.
yeah, yeah. I mean, you have one, so you know what it's like.
But yeah, man. So what have you been up to? What's going on?
Uh, you know,
What are we?
just
What are the topics here? What's the deal?
So I want to talk to you about one of the stuff that you've been doing since our last show. One of the things I wanted to actually talk to you about was Tulum, and I wanted to
Tulum.
learn a little bit. Yes, because you just came back from Mexico, right? With in the coaching experience,
Yeah.
so I wanted to learn a little bit more about that.
Am I breaking up? Because you're breaking up a little bit. I don't know if
Oh,
it's me
there
too.
sounds like a little bit crackling.
Yeah, I don't know if that's my phone or yours phone. Um, can you hear me okay?
Yeah, better now. I think.
Well, when you're talking, I hear cracking. But anyway, um, yeah. So I was in Tulum, and what we started doing recently with my friend Dave uh, is, well, first of all, David is David, my good friend David Morin. He's fucking excuse me, a superstar. So he's on a Netflix documentary called The Perfect Physique. He's on like 50 magazine covers worldwide. He's got his own supplement line, product line. So Dave actually ended up in a coma. So he was in a coma and he woke up on his birthday, and they had him on a ventilator and stuff. And so when he woke up, he couldn't breathe on his own. So when he woke up, he came up with this product that helps you open up the pathways, so help you breathe better and stuff. And then from there on, he like really changed his life around. Not that his life wasn't bad before, but you just started thinking, differently. And anyway, so Dave lives around here. He's right near me, and he's a very well-spoken guy. He's very smart, has a lot of life experience, and so Dave had this idea to go somewhere really and put on these retreats. And you could take a vacation, I could take a vacation, but doing a retreat where you with a group of individuals where the vibe is very different. It's all about the energy. It's all about the atmosphere. It's all about we're pitching it to people as it's a vacation for your body, your mind, and your soul. So during this vacation, we all train together. We do all types of spiritual practices. We take different types of tours. It's all inclusive. So this time we went to Tulum. We're going to Tulum again in August, but basically, there's an itinerary, and for example, like we woke up one day, right? Where we started with ice baths. So, and we had 10 people. So people that haven't done things like that, it's very new to them, and that's the whole beauty of the experience and of the retreat is you get to do these things that you've never done before. You wouldn't have done before if it wasn't for the retreat. So you wake up, you jump in an ice bath, and then you have to see how long you last. Then you go jump in a pool. Then you start doing sprints on the beach. And you go swim in the ocean. Then you jump in a kayak. So like all these little things. And that's your morning. Then you have a big breakfast. We have a private chef that cooks everything for the people. Then we take a tour to the cenotes. You know what a cenote is?
No, what is it?
You've seen those. It's like basically a big hole in the wall in the ground, and down there is like water.
Mm.
So it's these like big giant puddles, and people go down there and they swim in there. So like the light shines through, and they're all over Mexico. And so you could go and jump in the water and just kind of chill. The energy there is very cool and different. So I'm the content provider for the retreat. I do photography, and because I started working a lot lately as a photographer, I go there and I provide. So my service is one of the perks that people get with an all-inclusive package is they don't have to take selfies when they go to a pyramid, or they don't have to take selfies when they're there. I'm there capturing everything, and then for each person I do like a digital media package where I send them everything that they've done, and just have a good time. So we go to cenotes, we went to the pyramids, we did microdosing, which is fun. We microdose shrooms.
Microdosing? Oh,
Yeah. So like we microdose shrooms, man, and that's like a big thing. So like, and we're honestly talking about it. We're talking about these experiences, and of course it's optional. It's not like you go on a retreat and we're like shoving shrooms down your face. It's not. That's not how it works. It's like we have this. You're in Tulum. It's an organic product that you could take, and bond with nature. And what better way to do it? You're not going to be able to do it in Manhattan, like on the subway with a homeless guy next to you. So you're in Tulum, and you're imagine tripping balls like on the subway. So like it's a very different type of thing. And people go, well, microdosing shrooms, good lord, like, but you're taking all these pharmaceutical fucking drugs that are over the counter that are a lot more harmful to you than mushrooms, which are natural. So we did microdosing shrooms. We connected. You have a beautiful experience by sitting out, watching the ocean, the sunrise, and it's very like it's something that you have to experience. I can't even describe it. So then we did DMT. You know what DMT is?
No, I don't know
All right,
any of these terms.
I gotta catch you up on all these
Okay,
drugs.
what's DMT?
So DMT is something your body produces when you die.
Okay.
Okay, so and so DMT is also something that you can smoke and have a very similar effect. The thing is, DMT, look at it, lasts only about 10 minutes. But for some people, like Joe Rogan often talks about it, Mike Tyson, like a lot of the celebrities that are getting into spirituality, they have tried it, so, and it's life changing for a lot of people. So, we tried that, even though I didn't really feel much, but other people have. It's still like it just makes you feel very relaxed. Some people see things. Some people see like actual people. One of the guys in the group saw his wife, and he's like, it was the most beautiful thing, and like he saw her in the ocean. She's back at home, but he saw her there, and like his kid and everything. And it was just a very, very cool experience for him to have, and especially for somebody that hasn't done anything like that. And this is very, like I said, I can't stress this enough. This is very different than somebody going, guys, you want to go to a club and take some ecstasy or do some Molly or whatever. This is not that type of a retreat. This is all about like your body, your mind, your soul. And these are very different things that people could take to kind of get a different perspective on life, and it helps a lot of people with that. So it's very interesting, but that's an optional part of the retreat. So anyway, it's a 5-day retreat. It's all inclusive, private chef. And we're planning to do different destinations. So like
That
this time it's going to be Mexico. Then we're planning to do Iceland. Then we're planning to do like all these different types of things where it's off the beaten path. So we're not going to go in a tourist area and just go to Starbucks and eat, crap there. So yeah.
I love it, man. I think that I follow a lot of um different people. I think is it still crackling on your end?
Yeah, I don't know what it is, man.
Yeah, it sounds like a keyboard or something. It's
I
weird.
don't have a keyboard. Uh, let's see, maybe. What about now?
Oh, that sounds good, right?
You're still cracking,
Yeah.
but
But I
okay.
was gonna say that the actual follow like the guys like Dan Carcillo from the NHL who had a lot of concussions, and he's been recovering post career. He quit. He was like 32, 33 years old when he basically quit the NHL and
I
became
think
an
that's you,
advocate.
bro. I think the cracking is on your end.
How about now?
Still
No,
cracking.
that's so weird.
Yeah.
I don't know.
Oh man.
I don't
All
know.
right. So, but as long as you can hear me, okay, I'm good.
Yeah, I can hear you okay, and
All right.
it comes in. Yeah, but I
You're
was
talking about NHL players and
yeah,
questions.
Dan Castillo, he like retired at the age of 32 because of his one of his best friends committed suicide. And it was like a famous thing in the newspaper. And he also had a lot of concussions, and he was dealing with a lot of depression as part of that. So he's big into, I think he has like a marijuana farm, and he's like into also like making music and all that stuff. So I see a lot of that in medicine coming out these days.
He's into what? I missed it because you were cracking lacking over there.
Still cracking? Hold
Yeah,
on.
dude.
Sorry, guys. I'm going to take a second here and
Yeah,
try
technical
to.
difficulties over here. It's a
Oh my
professional
God.
podcast. God damn it.
Yeah, I mean, I've never had this before. This is unwarranted.
Do you want me to like try to exit and come back, or I don't know?
Hold on, hold on. Stay on. Let me play. Okay, better.
Hello.
Yeah, better. What is,
No,
I don't know.
I'm okay with it. I can't really make out some of the things you're saying. Um,
Just you don't read lips.
what?
You can't read the lips. Like
I can,
just read what I'm saying.
I can read the lips. I can read your lips, bro. I know you for a while. Um, but
I
yeah,
mean,
so
this
with
is the
the
way.
with the hockey players, what we were saying, they have to take some what?
No, I was telling you a story about Dunker Silva who retired early because of his concussions. His friend having, committed suicide. And so
Yeah, yeah.
as part of that, he started getting really into this natural supplements like weed and shrooms and things like that that are naturally grown.
Weed, weed.
The
Yeah.
weed.
Well, so yeah, man. That's like that's a big thing. I smoke weed. You know. Hey kids, don't do drugs. But I public service announcement. But I smoke weed, man. I have a back injury since 2012. First of all, with the crazy day that I have, I can't get deep sleep. So like I can fall asleep, but then I wake up throughout the night. If I smoke, it just knocks me out and helps me sleep a little better. Plus, before I go to bed, I work as a photographer, so it helps me get my creative juices going. And I end up editing a lot of the work that I do under the influence. And then when I wake up, and I was like, whoa, I did that? That's pretty cool. So there's a lot of, you throw this stone and you hit like 10 birds at the same time. So it's like better sleep, recovery for my back and my knee, creative productivity, whatever it is that you're working on. So it has so many benefits and it's natural. The funny thing is, so I don't remember the exact, so what you call it. So there's THC. The technical term, I forget what it's called, and I don't want to say it the wrong way because if there's any stoners watching this, they're just going to troll me. But it's so there's like THC something something 8, and then there's THC something whatever 9, right? So the 8 is illegal, which is why you can't sell it. But the 9 is legal, and it's from the same strain. So there's this company out of Canada. They started making these little energy bottles, energy looking bottles, like those 24-hour energy.
Yeah.
So they started making those, and they started putting it's called Delta 9 or Delta 8, one of those. And they started put one of the ones that's legal. So they started putting it in these little shots. So you take it and you just get the same effect as you would with the typical, smoking a joint. The only thing is that one's legal and the other one isn't, which is surprisingly because when I tried one of those energy drink looking things, I forgot that I drank it, and then I drank it and I went about my nightly routine, and then I started getting really hungry, and then I'm like trying to remember when the hell did I smoke, and why do I have the worst munchies in the entire world, and uh, and then I was like, wow, this is the same thing, you know. So anyway, what I was trying to say is it's just funny how it's being marketed. You get this because we can sell this to you, but don't buy this because we don't have a patent on it yet. Or we can't
Right.
make money from it. It's just silly, man. It's a government. They're trying to take all the natural stuff away and replace it with all the pharmaceutical stuff. But natural remedies, man, have been around forever, and you know what? They cured a lot of people. And there's so much. science and there's so much research, about all this stuff, how it'll actually heal you. And what they do is, microdosing shrooms actually gets a lot of people off stuff like Xanax or antidepressants. So, and just nobody knows about it. They're like, "Whoa, mushrooms!
Well,
Shiitake."
I feel like, if it's controlled and it's something that, people actually tell you how to properly do it and how to properly use it, if it's a controlled environment, just like everything else, right? If you know how much uh you know whey protein you should drink or how much calories you should intake, if it's a controlled environment, then you could do it the right way. Otherwise it becomes like when you're kind of just experimenting on yourself and you don't really know what to do, that's when it becomes like a problem for people. I feel like, I mean, I don't know, but that would be my guess.
Yeah, I mean, well, first of all, you shouldn't do anything by yourself, and try to figure it out, especially stuff that's going to get you elevated and have an effect on your mood, whether it's your mood, your hormones, your whatever, right? Anything that puts you out of a state that you're currently in, it should be monitored, right, by a doctor or something. So, like, uh, in the industry that I'm in, it's clearly obvious that a lot of people use drugs, performance enhancing drugs, steroids, whatever. And I've never been opposed to other people doing it, but I've always said to young guys, like, man, because drugs, steroids came on the scene after World War II. Back in Russians made it, and then Russians started doing it. So steroids came on the scene during the World War II, and Russian soldiers were getting injected with steroids to help recover faster. Then what happened is they started using all these steroids to help them win Olympics. Back then people didn't even know, like, oh wow, you could use that and enhance your performance with steroids. So eventually, bodybuilders got a hold of it, and they're like, okay, this is going to change the whole game. And then now it's just littered with steroids, which is fine, but it's actually beneficial to you. So, like, when you go to a doctor, what's the first thing that they say when you have knee pain and you need a surgery? They go, here, I'll give you a shot. It's a steroidal shot. It's steroids that you're putting in your knee to help you recover, right? So it's not a bad thing as people make it sound to be. It's like overuse of drugs, of any type of drug. Overuse of a vitamin C will put a hole in your stomach, but you're not going to go
Right.
and down a bottle of vitamin C, right? That's what I'm saying. Is like there's directions, and the people that don't follow directions are the people that have side effects. And if you do it proper, go consult a doctor, get your hormones checked, get your everything checked, and if you're young, don't do it. You have enough testosterone, you have enough energy. You sh- Even if you don't get it, I mean, you remember, man, when we were young, we were getting what, 2 hours of sleep, go to the gym the next day, go train, go work, go to school, go out, drink, and then get like half hour of sleep and do the same thing every day. So like
I was gonna actually say,
everything has to be monitored under somebody if you don't know how to do it properly. Once you learn and you have done enough research, then I feel like you could potentially do it yourself. But anything has to be controlled, so like, or at least uh, have be done under some type of guidance. So,
I was gonna say what you just mentioned about um, the age when can you start looking into supplements and experimenting. And I think you made a great point there that you really need either a doctor or somebody who's going to monitor you and tell you, hey, this is down a level and you want to bring it up. Here are some options for you, natural options preferably, right? But you're absolutely right. Like if you're a young kid and you have everything you need, just eat the food. It's like you used to tell me, right? That why are you drinking protein shakes when you could just go have a meal and get all your nutrients and actually chew your food and get it down and it'll work best. Like why are you going out there and drinking protein shakes filled with all this nonsense that probably I didn't even need or didn't even know existed.
Yeah, I mean, well, first of all, that's what supplements are great, and I feel like the supplement industry got ruined by people going after supplements because of the money. So a lot of these guys started getting big contracts, and they started promoting these supplements that they don't even take themselves, which even made fooled me when I was a kid. And I'm opening up magazines, and I go, I want to look like this guy, and this guy giant veins like in his neck, and he's promoting, hey guys, you want to look like me? Take this multivitamin, or take this type of protein, or this weight gainer, or fish oil, whatever, like, and they were getting paid. They're getting paid to say that, to do this, right? And that's fine. But if you're actually taking it, but the thing is people started misguiding other people. These advertising commercials and everything, saying that all you need is this, all you need is that. Yeah, to a recreational lifter, honestly, like all you need is good food. I didn't even recommend supplements to people. Um, I always said that the nutrition is key. Number one, you could get most of your supplements from nutrition. Whatever you can't, then use supplement, right? Whatever you can, try to get it from a meal. Also, what you said about the shakes, your body starts to digest food very differently when it doesn't have to digest it. So when you introduce liquefied food, it's already digested. You're actually doing more harm than good by not chewing, but not digesting the food properly. And if you just keep drinking shakes, that's not even. First of all, you don't know what's in it, like you said, right? It's a bunch of sugar, a bunch of fillers. Second, you don't know how much. First of all, it's just protein. When you have a chicken or you have steak, you're getting a lot of all these other things. There's creatine in steak. The only thing is like you have to eat so much steak to get the amount of creatine that's in one scoop. So that's why you would supplement with a creatine in that case. But what I'm saying is like basically the industry kind of got a little bit ruined by people just selling out, and doing all this stuff. I take supplements, but I tell people don't take supplements. Only take it when you budgeted your nutrition, your training, and when you have money left over, go ahead and buy the supplements. But that's like
Right.
the last on the list. That's an aid. That's a supplement. You supplement on top of what you're doing already, which is your training and your nutrition. So your nutrition has to be on point. And honestly, with just nutrition and proper training, you can get ahead of no problem. You don't need a fat burner. You don't need a ton of protein. You don't need. People don't understand that, especially young guys. Young guys
Right.
don't understand.
Yeah.
I
Well, everybody wants short-term gains. You know what I mean? Everybody wants to be like this. Like, I want to be, a huge guy in 2 months, and you always
right.
see those guys in the gym, right, walking around with. Sorry, I'm gonna mute you because it crackles when you're unmuted. So I'm gonna mute you talk, and then I'm gonna unmute you. Yeah. Okay. Yeah, so you always see those guys in the gym walking around with the huge gallon of water, and within like 4 weeks they just go, like this, and it's all like water weight and stuff, and then you see them 2 months later, and they're just back to this kind of like sad existence that we all live in. And you're like, what just happened? What, you did a course of steroids, and then you're like, oh, well, I don't want to do steroids anymore. And then you get off it, and then you know, it gets bad.
I can't even tell you the amount of cases like young guys write to me on Instagram and start asking me all this stuff. And when I tell them honestly, I tell them, listen, don't do it. Don't. And they think I'm lying to them. They think that, oh, okay, okay. And I'm like, no, man, you don't need it. You don't need it. You have enough. Your hormones are good unless you're that type of unless you're that one case where you were born and you happen to have low testosterone your entire life. In that case, you probably do need a little help. But a lot of these guys, you think the young kids are like 18, they bother going to the doctor and getting their blood work checked to see what hormones they're. No, nobody does that. They'd rather get whatever from Joe Schmo down the street and just go, because that guy said
Yep.
it's good. So he looks good. I'm gonna look like him. No, your hair is gonna fall out when you're 22. like where you're gonna have other that you're on steroids. No, but like
Right.
you're gonna have
Obviously.
you're gonna have like that's why all these like side effects happen when kids are still going. I mean, they're still growing. You're still developing, and on top of that, you introduce drugs into the mix. And what happens is your body doesn't know how to. You're already, when we're teens, we already have like acne, and we have like, these hormonal changes. You add drugs to the mix, man. Your body doesn't even know how to respond. All of a sudden, your hair starts falling out. You have acne. You have like, man boobs, whatever, right? Your estrogen spikes up. Your testosterone's low. So like there's a lot of side, and guys don't understand that. Why would you want to ruin your body just without any type of guidance? So like I've always and then you fluctuate too, like you said, right? You do a cycle and then you blow up. You're like, yeah, for like 2 weeks, and then you see the same guy 3 weeks later, 4 weeks later, and they look like they've never even lifted in my life. Have you ever seen that with me? Like I have 20 years, and me trying to explain this to kids is like I started training before you were even born.
Yeah.
So like kids will come up to me on the beach, hey man, what are you on? And I'm like, how old are you? And they're like 21. And I'm like, you weren't even around when I started training. Like just training. I'm not even talking about how old I am, but just the training aspect. So it's just very hard to get through to this generation because we have 15-second reels and 150 character tweets. People don't have the attention span to go through all the information. Nobody wants to learn. And on top of that, kids don't even want to admit that they're wrong most of the time because it's very hard to do. They'd rather make some shit up, pretending like they know everything, than just going, well, I don't know. Why don't you tell me? Teach me. Nobody says that. You know.
Right. Right. I know. I agree with you 100%. I think that it's almost like a lost art of actually learning what you want to do, instead of just kind of trying to copy somebody that you don't even know what they're trying to work on. You're just trying to be like somebody, but you're not. I think there's a great analogy you brought. You posted a few times, and you told me personally about your abs, right? How it's like a ice tray, and then you're just trying to fill it, and you have some sort of like genetical predisposition, but then you gotta lose the fat and then fill the tray and work it that way, and doing 1,000 a million sit-ups is not gonna get you that six-pack you always wanted, because uh you know and it's gonna look different than the guy next to you, just because that's how you're built.
Nice shirt, by the way.
Yeah, I'm still rocking it. We had this
Yeah.
camera sideways. So this is Anton's shirt. I love it. I actually wore it when you were competing. I don't know if you saw my show,
Oh,
but I was rooting for you and I was talking about it on the show. So I was wearing it
yeah.
on one of the other shows with other guests.
Thanks,
Um,
bro. Yeah, but what you were saying about the ice tray analogy, man, I use that all the time. It's like people go, "Well, I need bigger shoulders, or I need this and this," and you can't reshape the ice tray. You can't, go. I want to put this ice cube like this, or I want to have a round ice cube or a triangle. You got a tray, and it all like you pour water. You could put a little less water, or you can put more water, right? But the ice cube is going to hold the shape of your genetic structure. So you could make your legs bigger if you focus on the legs and not train anything else, and that's equivalent to you pouring more water in a certain spot to get that ice cube bigger. If you don't want to train your calves or you don't want to train something else, then you put a little less water, and then eventually, but you can't have the same structure as that guy or whatever. You can just more or less, figure out how balanced you want to be, and that's pretty much it, man. But I mean,
yeah.
I could talk about this all day, but I'm pretty sure like a lot of the people that are watching, they're into hockey and they're not into the stuff that I'm into.
No,
So
actually, a lot of people love what we are talking about. Look, there's some comments here. We have Sergi Sidoga. What's up? Sergi saying hi from Florida.
oh, what's up, bro?
He's
What's going
saying,
on?
I guess he's asking if you went to any clubs while you were in Tulum.
If I went to any clubs, so everything closes at 12 in Tulum. So that's one thing. And then when we were there, actually, it was the night that we were supposed to go out to clubs is when they had like election. So there was no liquor being served anywhere. And so we kind of just ended up staying home and yeah, and we just
And the
partied and
truth.
what's up? Pretty
And
much. Pretty much. Yeah.
yeah, like if there's no liquor, you just pick mushrooms in the forest and you
Do
eat
what?
them.
Yeah, whatever. But man, I can't even tell you how much fun that trip was. It's like I think people should do more stuff like that because it is very life changing. And to hear other people talk about their experiences, like Dave talking about being in the coma, or surviving. Like he had a tumor in his heart, which is why he was in a coma in the first place, and like him talking about this. I call Dave the shredded zombie because I mean, how many people do you know that died and came back to life? You know, so he's like the walking dad. He is a dad, and he walks. So yeah,
Unbelievable. I just think that you know,
yeah,
I
it's
would
just a
want
fun
to
experience. I think everybody should do that. You could do that something like that with your hockey practice.
I love
Um,
it.
yeah, you do like a little. Because I was thinking like when I was getting ready for the Olympia, I wanted to do something similar. Go somewhere without any distractions and train in like in Spain or maybe in Italy or somewhere where all I'm doing is I'm focusing on what I need to do, get ready for the Olympia. For the 2 months, all I'm doing is eating, training, and resting and sleeping. And I'm soaking in all this experience with the coaches that I'm there with. And it's a very cool thing to do. So you could do something like that with your hockey practice where you bring a bunch of people and you guys all like it's kind of like MTV's Real World back in the day, except it's a lot more fun. And now they're actually doing this stuff with remember the UFC? They're doing
Yeah.
all these like where they all live in the same house. You got the two coaches, and then they all have teams. So it's like these type of concepts, man. Like people that go on retreats like that, they never ever forget it. It's very life changing. And I feel like ours is going to take off. We just did the one, but people are already asking like, when's the next one? When's the next one? When are you guys going to Iceland? When are you going to Italy? When are you going to Bali? So we have like all these trips lined up. Where we want to go to Iceland. We want to go to Santorini, and we want to take people there and show them this amazing experience and have them take a lot away from it. So yeah.
Wow. No, I mean, I would want to something. I was actually even. Oh, let me mute you. I was actually even thinking maybe we could the next guy's trip should be something like that. Like I think that's pretty amazing. I do have some a question here from Christine, and she's asking, have you ever looked into CBD as a recovery tool?
Uh, Personally, me,
Yeah.
yeah. So there are CBD. So I believe that plant works as a whole. So for example, like if you got a fly, right? Whereas I got a fly here, right? And I get the fly, and I just start picking off its legs and its wings and shit, right? And I just do this. The fly's not going to go anywhere. It's practically dead, right? So I just feel like a plant works as a whole. It's called a flower, right? So when you separate the CBD, and there's a lot of studies and research on it, the CBD works with some THC in it. So why would you take one component out? Because it all has to work as a whole. So um, the strongest strain I think that actually help people that has the highest amount of CBD is called Charlotte's Web, and that's the strain that helped. I mean, there's a case where a little girl, I think she either had seizures or I can't remember exactly what condition she had, and it cured it. It was high in CBD, but at the same time, it had THC in it. So they were giving it to this girl and completely treated her, you know. But that's not because they gave her drops of CBD that some brand made that diluted, you know what I mean? So where I'm going with this is that there's too much saturation on the market now, and you don't know what's good, what isn't, which is not good for the consumer because you have no idea what you're buying or where it's coming from or how it's made. It could be crappy like coconut oil mixed with something else, and then you're just going up, pop. like have this placebo effect going, I think I feel better. And in my case, I don't think you should think you feel better. You should actually feel better if the product works, right? You shouldn't go, is
Right.
it working? When I smoke a joint, I don't go, is it working? I go, it is working. I am high as a kite right now. And so in the same so in the same sense, like CBD should work the same way. Unfortunately, every brand that I've tried with CBD, whether it's like the creams, and I've been sponsored by brands that had the creams, and I thought that it was helping me, but it really like it's the secondary things that I do that help my knee and my back. I don't think it was the CBD. It was the stretching. It was the chiropractor. It was all these other things. And I did put on the CBD, and I'm like, oh, well, maybe I feel better. But I don't really think that the CBD products that are on the market right now, by themselves, I don't think they do much. I think like a good strain of marijuana with highest amount of CBD and lowest amount of THC would be the most beneficial. But as far as like all these brands and gummies, you see what it's turning into, man? Gummy bears. Eat this gummy bear. Like, they're like, oh my God, it tastes delicious. It has CBD in it. I'll go take it. Like, are you taking it because it tastes good, because it's a gummy bear, or are you taking it because it's CBD? Go and buy a regular jar of gummy bears and eat that. But everything is just like it's being sold to you. They're trying to sell it to you because they're making it. Not nature's making it, but they're making it and they're manufacturing it and putting a nice label on it and they're sending it to you. And you go, wow, I think it works. Get a joint, somebody. So,
It seems like as soon as monetize something, it, as soon as something becomes mainstream and these companies can monetize the product, it just goes off the rails, and it's so hard after that to kind of, especially now with social media and these promotions and everybody kind of posting and posting. It's so hard to kind of get through the rubbish and get to something like what you have done in your career, right? When you're actually looking at things that work for your body. And, and I've tried some things like vitamins and supplements. Like, I don't know if I told you a story about fish oil where everybody was crazy about fish oil. And so I was like, it's great for you, right? So I took some fish oil for about 3 days. And then I'm going to work and I'm standing on the train station platform and I'm dizzy. Like, I'm like this, like woozy, like crazy dizzy. And I'm like, that's not normal. So I was working at AIG at the time. So we had internal doctor's office. So I went to the doctors and I was like, dude, I was like, I don't know what's going on. He's like, I think you have vertigo. He's like, what are you doing that's different that you haven't done before? And I said, nothing. The only thing that's different is I'm taking this fish oil supplement, which is great for you. He said, one of the side effects of fish oil is vertigo, is when you get dizzy. He's like, it's very rare, but you happen to be one of those rare, one out of 1,000 that gets it. And so, it took me a couple of days to get off it, but it was the weirdest experience. And so, just for everybody else, it's great, right? It adds a lot of things to their body and it's a great, source of, vitamins. But for me, it was the opposite. It was actually detrimental to what I was doing.
yeah. I mean, and that's why there's labels on warning labels and instructional labels on how to use certain type of supplements. And again, brings me back to like the generation today where they don't read they don't read the label.
I didn't read it.
Like, there's a warning label on a hanger. When you get a hanger from like your dry cleaning, right? And then there's a warning label that says choking hazard. Like they have to do stuff like that because we're just so stupid. Nobody reads anything. Nobody just like, and that's what I'm saying is like the market is so saturated with supplements. Is the same thing. People started just monetizing on it so much, and it's easier for them to settle out of court when people do sue them and maintain the sales of their brand and keep it on a hush hush, that they make more money making sales and just be quiet. Here, you toss some money your way. Don't worry about it. So they settle out of court, and they just keep their brand.
Yeah,
But yeah, man, there's a lot of stuff out there that doesn't work. And people make money, and there's stuff that works, but nobody listens to people when they go, try this. It worked for me. And I'm the type of a guy. I do everything. I try everything for 30 days. I do it every day. I know I hate yoga. This is how I know I hate yoga. I did it for 30 days. I can honestly say that I don't like it. So then when people go, how do you know you don't like it? I go, I tried it for 30 days. You know, so that's my thing. I try stuff for 30 days. I tried kombucha the very first time when I tried kombucha. I drank it for 30 days in a row, and I know I like it. I know I don't like yoga, and I do that with things that I want to experiment with, and supplements and vitamins and sports, whatever. So um, yeah, man, you just have
I
to
think that's
try stuff. That's it. What's up?
great point. I was going to say that we had a couple questions from Christine about how do you know, which supplement, I guess, what the impact it's going to have on you, the supplement. And also, she asked, what advice do you give to someone reading about sports brand and selling edibles and supplements? And I think you just answered both of those things by saying you try it, you read the label, you try it, and sometimes even talk to your doctor or your personal trainer, or somebody who's in the business like you, right? And being aware of what's out there, what tools you can use to develop your body. But it's also something you went through for you. And so when you work with some of your clients, what do you do with them? Like, how do you help them to find the direction they need to go?
Direction they need to go as far as their fitness goals, or what?
Like nutrition, like supplement.
Well, I don't do nutrition for my clients. I've already in the beginning I said that I'm so busy. I could dedicate an hour to a client, but I can't do uh, checking in with a client because when they go home, the responsibility is on them. And I have way too many people that I work with that come into the gym, and it's like client after client after client. So as far as nutrition, I recommend people and I recommend coaches that they could work with. If they like my training methods and they want to train with me, then I'll kick their ass for an hour. But when they go home, it's on them. So I got, if you don't do your cardio, if you don't stick to your diet that your coach made you, that's on you. That's not on anybody else. And but I mean, I do the tough love approach, man. I like just today I have this client Jonathan, and he's like, "You don't notice anything? Like you don't notice that I look?" And I'm like, "I'm sorry, Jonathan, I don't notice." And it's like, but when they do hear it, when I do tell them something, they go, "Wow." It's like I don't baby my clients. It's like I'm like, if you want it, you gotta earn it. You know, um, and yeah. So I don't know if I answered that correctly.
Yeah, I know. No, I think it's fair. I think you answered it to a point of, you know, from your perspective and how you train, which I think adds a lot of value there for that question. The one question I do want to ask you, something that came up, is when some of your clients or people you train, or even yourself, find yourself in this rough patch, right? When things are just not, you're mentally not there, things are not going right, you just can't lift the same weights, maybe, I keep hitting, missing the net, whatever it is, I can't score a goal for 3 weeks straight, whatever the situation is. um how can, as coaches and as athletes, can we help, kids and parents and, even our peers, to get through that moment and get out of that rough? Like, how do you kind of regain that confidence?
Yeah, I think we were talking about kids, and maybe Jane has something similar to that. And I think I answered that last time that like you have to. It's like through actions that you show people. I could say anything. I could tell you anything you want, but honestly, the motivation and the inspiration has to come from inside you, internally. because I'm not going to be there all the time to, kick your ass. I'm not going to be there. And I'm not supposed to be there. I'm supposed to be there during the hour to kind of motivate you a little bit, right? To guide you. But people have to learn on by themselves. That's why a lot of people that train together, they rely on their training partner to make it, and it's external motivation. So, oh, I'm gonna go train with my training partner. All of a sudden, he doesn't go, you don't go, and it shouldn't be like that. Don't make excuses. Don't rely on external sources of motivation. You have to find it within you, and whatever drives you. If it doesn't drive you, it's not for you. Do something else. Like if you can't find the willpower to do it and you can't find internal motivation for you to pull through, that's not for you, because it shouldn't be external sources driving you to a certain goal. It should be you. You have to talk to yourself, talk to the mirror, talk to, sit in the dark and meditate, whatever. But like if it rains outside, you go. It's not the rain's fault. You go. It's on you. Everything. You have to take accountability. So I mean, the way I show my clients is through what I'm doing. They see me. I'll train with my clients sometimes. I might do heavier weight than they do, but they'll see me in pain, just like they're in pain. And they see me pull through this, and they see me struggle, and then they go, "Okay, you're going through the same exact hell as I am, and you're pulling through." So we all run at very different paces in this life, right? This life is a marathon, and we're just taking our time and we're running. Some people might run faster, other people run at their own pace, but we'll all eventually get there. So, and you have to find whatever it is that drives you inside you. And I remember running one race for a friend of mine. His name is Michael Anderson. He got his leg amputated, and I was raising money for his new leg. And it was a 10-mile race, and I wanted to sprint, to see how fast I could run the 10 miles. So I sprinted for the first 2.5, 3 miles. And I was, when you run a race, there's a cluster of people that you have to kind of like outmaneuver. And I was trying to run past these people, and I went on the sidewalk, and I landed on the curb, and I sprained my ankle on third mile. And I ended up limping for 7 miles. Like, I just limped. I hopped, and I was thinking the whole time. I'm thinking like, I raised money for Michael. He's in a worse place than I am. He doesn't have a leg. I have one leg, and even though it's messed up right now, once I get to the finish line, it's all going to be better. And I'm just like talking to myself, and before I know it, I'm on mile 7. Before I know it, I'm on mile 9. Then I'm at the finish line, and I have all these people that passed me as I'm limping, going, "Oh man," he's like, "that was motivating. What you did," he goes, "I saw you twist your ankle on the third mile, and you limped all the way through." He goes, "That's inspiring to me." And this is my point, is that you don't say that you're going to do something to inspire other people. You just do it. And that inspires people. And action, there's magic in action. So I'm a big believer in just doing, doing, doing. Talk is cheap, man. I never say things and then do it. I do things and then I talk about them.
I absolutely love that. I think that's a pure example of leading by example, where you're just coming in and you say, hey, I went through what you're going through now. And I know what it takes. And I know how hard I worked and how much I put in. And that's such a great point that even in a moment where you were kind of going through this rough situation, limping yourself for 7 miles, somebody else saw you do that and you just maybe change their life, just with that particular act that you defied in yourself, but it affected somebody else, maybe even more than you coming up to them and saying, hey, I'm going to train you and make you the biggest bodybuilder in the world or whatever. And that would not motivate them as much as seeing you going through that struggle. So that is a beautiful story. I love that. And Christine here saying, talk what you preach. We get good vibes.
Yes,
Good
sir.
vibes
Are
over
we on
here.
a time limit? Because last time I think we got cut off at an hour.
No, no, we could keep going. We don't have a time limit. We could go all night as
Oh,
long as
okay.
we.
No, I gotta go soon. But Yeah, I could do another 10 minutes, but yeah, man, that's the whole thing. Is like not enough people I feel like do go out there and try to do things because too many people are afraid of failure. But at the same time, if you go on people's Instagram, all they quote is Wayne Gretzky and Michael Jordan
Right.
and all these successful athletes that were not afraid to fail. So why the hell are you sitting on your couch trying to come up with a perfect plan, which is never ever going to be perfect? You're going to fail regardless. And it's going to feel a lot worse when you're trying to set the bar so high that you're going to be completely disappointed and completely discouraged to ever try anything like that again. But if you don't set the bar, you just do your homework and you go and do it without any expectations, you already overachieved what you were planning to do. And it's just funny how people will quote like Gretzky, you miss 100% of the shot. What is it? 100% of the shots you
100% of the
take,
shots you don't take.
right? Yeah, and then they'll be like, "Well, I don't know, man. I don't know. I kind of want to, but I can't look like that, or I'm not going to be able to do this. I can't run this fast." Or that type of mindset, it limits you, whether you want to believe it or not, but completely limits you. It puts you in a box, and then people go, "Huh? I thought outside the box." But if you didn't put yourself in a box to begin with, you wouldn't have to sit and think outside of it. You know, so that's a big thing, man. I love to fail. You know how many shows I didn't win? I only won 8 pro shows, and I did 45.
Right.
And I learned more from failure than I did from winning. Winning just made me feel good. But I'm so glad that I've failed so many times because it taught me a lot. You know, and that's why I am how I am, and I'm very disciplined. And discipline is like one of the main things, you know, to me that I want to instill in my daughter. That's a big deal for me, you know, is just to have that. Because if you have that, man, anything you put your mind to will happen. Whether it's in a month or 2 months or it'll happen as long as you believe in yourself when other people don't.
Yeah, listen, and again, you brought up a great point about setting the bar, because this is something I talk to parents a lot about, because I feel like any age, I always set the bar high, and I feel like parents don't give their kids enough credit to do what they're capable of doing. And one of the things that I always tell them, and I said, if you believe in yourself the way I believe in you, then you understand why I push you so hard, because I think you can be here, and you're here now, and but I know you can be here. And so we're gonna push until we get there. And then setting that bar high makes them reach. I mean, look at my own kids, the thing that they are capable of doing, right. First time I saw them writing in Russian and speaking two languages at the age of 5 or 6, it's unbelievable. It's unbelievable. I was like, they're tiny, they're 5. They're writing into languages, like that's insane. And so the bar is high, and then they get there. But if you set the bar low and say, my kid cannot do that, my kid is never going to be a bodybuilder or an NHL player, he's never going to be this, he's never going to be that, then you kind of initially, you're already putting them into that negative mindset of saying, don't even try. Don't even do it. You're never going to get there. And that's not where you want to be.
Yeah, I mean, so what you said about like you're pushing kids hard, like in your case, right? You want to create the best athlete out of them, right? And there's a push that you're doing. The only thing is there's some people that like, so for example with kids, right? A lot of the parents, I don't know this, I'm just assuming because my parents did that with me, where they would give their kids to a coach or a school and to but the kid wouldn't like that. The kid doesn't want to do that. That's not what the kid wants to do. The kid wants to play drums or so, and then you're pushing them, but they're resisting. But that's not their passion. That's not what they're passionate about. They want to be a video game designer or an artist or whatever. And then so there's a lot of miscommunication there because the kid is not old enough to fully express themselves. I feel like uh, you have to be the type of a person to, before you push somebody and before you mold them into something that you feel like they should be. First, you have to find out whether or not that's something they want to be. because if you're just otherwise, I mean, I don't know, man. I feel like adults as well as kids have to be passionate about what they do, and then when they are, passion and work ethic and guidance from the right people will make them a champion, and unfortunately there's a lot of miscommunication with the parents, with the coaches, with the schools. Kids want to do this, they don't want to do that. So like, and then a lot of times, like if we're talking about parenting, a lot of times parents don't even get to know their own kids. They just go, I don't have enough time, let's just give the kid to this school, and then meanwhile the kid is like, I don't want to go, I don't want to do that. So the kid grows up to be confused. There has to be communication. And yeah.
Yeah, I agree with you 1 million% there. I think this is a trend that's now coming out of these podcasts because pretty much every single guest that I've had on the show kind of mentioned this number one step is realizing that don't push your kid into something you want them to do or something you always wanted them to be, or something you wanted to be yourself and then you projecting. Let them pick the direction. If that's the direction they want to go, then in my mind it's like all in. You want to be a drummer, all in, let's go. I'm going to support you 150%. I'm going to drive you to drumming school and we're going to do all this stuff and we're going to do it 150% down. But if I see that I want to play baseball, basketball, soccer, hockey, and 7 other sports, and I'm not sure, try them all. But at some point, you have to figure out which one you love the most and then go with that again. Jump in and go 100%. That's why I always say try things early, try things young. You went through a lot of different things before you settled on bodybuilding too, right? You did gymnastics and other things that people actually don't know about.
Yeah, I mean, I got stuck in it. I tell people I'm an accidental bodybuilder because I would look like this whether I competed or not. I just kind of stuck with my passion project. Joe Rogan talks about this all the time. Is you need to have a passion project that will eventually make you money. I feel like hockey is what it is for you. Because you're in accounting, right?
Right.
You're right.
Yep.
And then you're pursuing your passion, which is hockey, which is what we did as kids, and you stuck with it, and now you're a coach, and that's a very beautiful thing. I even told the same thing to my client just 30 minutes ago, that I'm like, I'm having a podcast with my buddy who I kind of introduced to hockey, and then it's just like so rewarding uh, to see him still pursue it and become a coach and coaching his sons and passing all that information. That's amazing, and I feel like too many people get stuck in a routine, and it's a social pressure, that we have in this day and age. The Instagram, the Facebook, be like this guy, be a doctor. Our parents trying to be. My parents still give me crap for doing what I do. Meanwhile, like they'll be the first ones to go and pick up a magazine and go, "That's my son." Like, it's kind of silly, because they want you to be something else. But in your heart, you want to do what you want to do. And a lot of people, I feel like a lot of parents can't comprehend the fact that even though it's their kid, but this is a little human being that has its own, their own. The world revolves around them. They have their own ideas. They have their own views on the world, on the way they see things, and we should not in any way get in the way of that. Otherwise, you're just creating another copy of what a basic generic copy. And but if a kid feels like they want to do something, let them do it. My daughter wants to run around with a helmet on and like a unicorn horn or whatever and go get ice cream. I'll take her. And who cares if other kids laugh? Like that's what she wants to do. Let her be a weird kid. I actually want her to be a weird kid because she's gonna grow up and be like, ugh, ugh, ugh. That's why I want to get face tattoos and then just meet all her boyfriends like this and be like, what do you want? Get out of here.
Yeah, you see, I don't have that problem. I have three boys. So.
Yeah, they're gonna be my bodyguards. So
Right. I don't know if you see that movie. I forget the name where this guy walks in for a date and he takes him to the back room and it's about like Steve's Den or something it's called. And he walks him to the back room and there's all his buddies all like standing around with tattoos and all like prison breakers and just like, hey buddy, just welcome to the, and they're all like working out and it's like not scary at all. That's gonna be us at our tender age of 65. I mean, I love it, man. I think it's such an important aspect, and I think Jade and I talk about it a lot as well because I actually have arguments with my kids to get them to express their points of view. Like they'll argue with me, and I love that they're thinking through certain things. And I always tell them, don't just argue with me just for the sake of saying you're wrong. You have to give me an argument and tell me why. And I love that a lot of kids that coach actually have that mindset. And that's what I always try to create on the bench. I was talking to one of the kids in practice yesterday, and I said, "Listen, I said you're on the ice. You're making a decision whether you're going to pass or shoot. Almost every single hundredth of a second, the situation changes." And I said, "That's okay if you decided to shoot the puck at net, but when you get to the bench, you'll say why. Why did you decide to shoot it?" And you can say, "Hey, I didn't see anybody." Well, maybe your head was down and you were looking at the puck the whole time. That's why you didn't see your partners and you didn't see your teammates, right? So you have to understand what you did, why you did it, and whether there was a better option. Doesn't mean that what you did was bad. It just means there might have been a better option that you. That's what your coach is there for, right? Is to give you those little nuances, those points where you pick the best option possible for not in the situation, right? And and I think that that's kind of like the lost art of a lot of people project. A lot of people project onto their kids and even coaches project onto their players what they want them to be or what they want to do instead of looking at the innate characters of that individual and saying, hey, this guy really fits here. Brent Burns plays in San Jose Sharks, guy with a big beard, very famous dude, and he was playing center forward until somebody moved him to defense, and he became one of the best defensemen in the NHL. Like scores a crap all the points. I think he was the leading scorer a couple of years ago out of all the defensemen in the NHL because one of his coaches recognized that, hey, if I move you here, that's better for you, and he ultimately changed his career that way.
yeah, I mean that's why you have coaches guiding you. I say the same thing with to the people that ask me for tips. I'm like, the best tip I could give you is get a coach because you're shaving so many years off of guesswork that the amount of time it would take you to learn everything yourself, you're doing it in a fraction of a time, and you're still young to be able to implement and grow and develop and evolve on top of all that, rather than me just giving you a tip. You know what I mean? So like, yeah, I mean, a good coach, and that's another thing is like there's so many bad coaches out there. Not in the NHL because obviously in the pro ranks everybody's a pro, and you have to be of a certain level to be able to coach, right? But in my case, every gym has a coach. Every gym has a trainer, and a lot of times, man, you just got to go through the bullshit, just like with supplements or CBD or whatever. There's so much crap that you have to trial and error. You have to figure it out. Unless you have a really good bullshit filter, you just have to do a lot of trial and error and figure shit out on your own. So yeah.
Yeah, and to that point, not every coach fits the athlete. So some coaching styles don't work with certain athletes. If you talk about like John Tortorella when he was on the Rangers, and he's like a grinder kind of guy, block shots and die kind of thing, right? And but he had some superstars on the team, so the superstars kind of their creativity and their ability to play the game was diminished because of that block shots and die mentality, because that's not them. That's not how they play. So recognizing that athlete's path is another very important thing. And to your point, I think you told me that before, where back in the day when we were working out, and you were saying that there's everybody is a personal trainer now. There's like every other person has a personal training license, and they walk around. They'll give you tips on how to do things, and then you hear them, and then there would be incorrect tips. I was on the bench with somebody and they were teaching something to the kids that was incorrect. And I kind of walked over and corrected them. But it was very weird for me to say that, because I don't, and it wasn't something incorrect like my opinion. It was something that, like, hockey has been around for 100 years, right? So there's certain things that have been developed and taught over these years that these great minds have created. So, you know, those like fundamental things that you know you, your person just didn't know. And I have to just walk home and be like, no, that's not how you play that situation. That this is how you should really do it, and this is why. And so I'm sure you run into that all the time.
Yeah, I just don't. I don't. First of all, I don't have the time to correct people, and second, it's not my place to say anything unless I see like a car crash waiting to happen. I'm not. It's not up to me. Like people could do whatever they want. Nobody asked me my opinion, and I just remember also being young too, and then going thinking I know everything, and it's kind of like a cocoon, right? You can't help cut it open and let the butterfly fly out and expect it to fend for itself. You're messing with evolution there. So honestly, I think a lot of people just have to go through the bullshit and figure it out on their own. So if some people are like that, like in my case, I'm glad I didn't listen to people because I had an injury, and that taught me to train better. And I look at it as a blessing in disguise. Do I regret that it happened? No. Does it suck? It absolutely sucks to have an injury. But I'm glad that it, in a way, did happen because now I train a lot better. I've made progress since then. I can pass on the knowledge to younger generation going, don't do what I did. But of course, nobody's going to listen to you. I just sound like that old guy going, and back in my day. So, and then the kids go, very nice, the old man, So yeah, but
Yeah,
now go
sorry,
ahead,
go ahead.
go ahead. No, you go ahead. No, you hang up.
No, no. I was gonna say that I think, speaking of injuries, and the lessons learned, I think that's an extremely important part of an athletic career, because we both dealt with a lot of injuries, right? I had both of my shoulders pretty much knocked out, nose broken 4 times, and you learn to go through that experience and know that there's a start and an end to this thing. And not to say that it's a good thing that you're comfortable with getting through an injury, but you also, it takes away the fear factor of you getting hurt, because you can get through it. And so you can push yourself to maybe higher levels where somebody else who has fear and is afraid of getting hurt will not push themselves in that direction.
Well, for some people, yeah, I agree. In a lot of other cases, I disagree because, like for example, if you're in the UFC and you get knocked out, you see that with the fighters as they're as as a fighter gets knocked out, they lose the fight, and then they come back the following year, and you can see they're a little bit more timid and not as reckless as they were. Like one of my favorite fighters, Vitor Belfort, who was knocking people out in like 8 seconds. You're talking about this guy that like literally from one side of the octagon would run up and just throw a knee in somebody's face, and that's it. The fight's over. 5 seconds. And then he got knocked out, and then he wasn't the same again after that. Now he's a little more cautious. So like, I guess what doesn't kill you make you stronger is like a really good approach to a lot of people. But just like the same logic can't apply to everybody. And in some cases it's good, in other cases it's not good, and it just makes somebody a little bit more timid, more reserved. And in my case, I work really well under pressure. and I noticed that. But as long as you're aware of that, like I
Right.
know that I need, I can't have people blowing smoke up my ass. I can't have people around that are going to give me biased opinions. I need people to tell me I look like shit going on stage. That'll make me work harder, probably. Rather than, oh, you look good. You look good. Like it's. I said that on the first podcast. Like, the one quote from a movie that said, "There's no two words in English language more hurtful than good job." I need hell. I need to be ground down and like just beat up. And then it's like the Nate Diaz. I don't know if you're familiar with your UFC fighters.
Yep.
Where the guy, like, literally in his last rounds, bleeding, somehow finds like second wind and almost knocks the guy out. Like, there was a fight recently that he fought in, and he was losing the fight, and then somehow ends up like almost knocking the guy out. He literally made him dizzy, and the fight would have been lost. But that's what I'm saying. Some people grind well under pressure. Other people, they fold. So. Um, and it doesn't. The same thing doesn't apply for everybody. You just have to figure out and accept it. You have to accept it. Listen, I don't work well under pressure, where I do, and a lot of people, like, I feel like, are not honest with themselves. And I read a lot of books on Buddhism, and Buddhism is actually a lot about accepting things for what they are, and just being present, being now. So I accept everything. Like, back when I was younger, I totally accepted the fact that I was an asshole. And then you kind of grow from that. When you go to an Alcoholics Anonymous meeting, not that I ever went, but the first thing to change is accepting that you have a problem and realizing it. Otherwise, you're just floating around, but you can't fix anything. So yeah. But I do have to run though in a little bit, so I got like 2 minutes, and then I'm gonna
Yeah.
head out because it's already
All right.
getting late.
Yeah. Let's wrap up. I'm just gonna mention a couple sponsors here. Wargate Hockey, you guys know them. If you go there and you want to pick up a face shield with the visor, so you're not afraid to get your teeth knocked out, and injury prevention there. Back to our injury discussion. You could use a special code they just created. It's 10 and Podolsky, Podolskiy. If you use that, you'll get 10% off. So please go on and check them out. Junior Rangers programs, check it out. Camps going on right now over the summer in various rinks. It's beautiful. Alumni players show up. It's amazing. It's cost effective. So if you haven't looked at it yet, go on. And September is coming quickly, so make sure you check that out as well. And Howie's Hockey. If you need any supplies or tape, use my code Podolsky 10 Podolskiy 10 to get something from Howie. So as usual, we're gonna wrap up with three questions I ask everybody, except since you already answered the first three, I'm gonna ask you different three questions. So here's number one. So can you name one pre-show routine that you would recommend for athletes to do that kind of brings them peace of mind mentally, or just prepares, or maybe something that prepares you for the show?
Um, yeah. So shutting down completely, getting off of social media, not having any distractions, not having anybody in your ear except for the select few, like maybe a coach or something, but completely just not listen to anyone, because you're running on adrenaline, and you want to have the same plan as before you had this rush of adrenaline, right? You want to stick to the plan, let the plan work. So you just want to be as clear headed as possible. Like, just do things that relax you. In my case, like I take nootropics. Nootropics is a brain food, and it helps with clarity and focus, energy. So I've actually there's a brand that I started working with, and this thing, you don't need it, but I'm just saying that in my case, my mind's all over the place, and I need something to slow down. And this helps me be a little bit more clear headed and think better. So One of the things I would recommend, man, is just getting off of social media, turning your phone off, read a book, watch a cartoon, be a kid. Forget about that for a little bit, and then when it's go time, you just jump right into it. It's go time. So
Love that. All right, that's awesome, man. Excellent. Next question is, can you say? I mean, last time we talked about three things that parents should do when they're raising athletes. So, if you could think of three things that parents should not do when they're raising their athletes.
should not do three things. Um, well, my daughter's like 2.5, so I'm not sure if she's an athlete yet. I don't know what it's like to raise an athlete, but I mean, so one first thing would be obviously is communication, which is something that we talked about. Listen to the kid. Uh, don't don't make the kid follow in your footsteps. Be an example for the kid. So communication is key. Listen to them. Make sure they're on the right path. Make sure they have everything they need to succeed. Two is give them um, room to grow and room to bring their ideas to fruition. So if they have something, it doesn't matter how silly it might sound. Let them do it. That's it's a kid. It's a kid. Let them be a kid for a little bit. Because the happier they are, they're further along. I feel like they're gonna pursue this dream or goal or whatever. So that's two. Let the kid be a kid, and then three. Uh, they shouldn't do. Don't beat your kids. I guess that's number three. uh, I don't know, man. I don't know. I would have to. You got put me on the spot there. Number three. I don't know. Two is fine. I think two is fine.
That's good. Don't beat your kids was a good one. I think that's an important one that we should take away. I actually, something that Jane told me for a long time was that if you have to hit a kid, you kind of lost that battle. You don't. Never ever. I never beat my kids. My parents never beat me. So
Yeah. What about keep a cool head? You know, don't be aggressive. Don't let your don't say things that you may regret later. Don't act on impulses. So just like put the aggression aside, and I don't know. I mean, be clear headed. Just kind of like, yeah, I guess that goes hand in hand with communication. But yeah, I don't know.
I like it. I like it. It's good. It's good. All right. Last one is, who was your role model when you were growing up and why?
um, Role model. I mean, I would probably have to say my dad. Just because every kid, when they grew up, every kid that has a good father father figure influence in their life, they try to take after them, or they might have an uncle or a grandpa or somebody that's always there and it's always listening to them. And that brings me back to the whole communication thing. Is like, if a kid listens to you, if you're hearing the kid, that's a really big thing. And I feel like me and my dad got along well when, I would ask him certain things and tips and on how to pursue this fitness stuff. And I was like, how do I get abs and so he kind of put me on a lot of things. My dad also wanted to see what I'd be good at. And he took his time to take me to places like a swimming pool to see if I'm good at swimming, which I totally suck. Gymnastics, like hockey, running tracks, sambo, the mixed martial art, martial art. And then eventually I got into fitness on my own. But we did try a lot of different things to see what my skill set would be, whether it's art, music. So I would have to say my dad, just because they did take their time into trying to figure me out. And I'm really thankful for that. So besides my dad, I don't know that I could think of anybody that was there from the beginning. My parents didn't really support me once we moved here, and I wanted to pursue what I wanted to, but they were there, in the beginning to kind of instill that in me. So for that, I'm thankful. But yeah.
That's awesome. I think in my experience has been a little bit different, and my kind of background with coming to America at the age of 11. My dad was never really involved in my athletic development, and the first time my mom saw me play a game, I think I was in 18 or 19 years old. So I was way later in my life, but they did they didn't stand in the way of me doing what I wanted to do and pursuing it. They knew I always wanted to be a martial artist, so they gave me the opportunity to go to a martial arts school and to train. And my grandma paid for my black belt when the test time came. My taekwondo black belt, and so they supported it in the way they could, even though it wasn't something that they really were keen on. So I think, as a takeaway and a final thought here from us, you have to really listen to your body, listen to yourself, and get a coach if you can. And, hopefully you'll get some information from us and our experiences as you grow and as you think about your child's development or your friend's development or whoever you're influencing. As you can see, we lead by example and we work hard at improving ourselves and inadvertently helping others around us, because that's really how we approach things. And as Anton put it eloquently earlier, you kind of walk the walk and talk the talk and do something and then talk about it rather than talk about doing something. So I think that's such a great quote there.
Gandhi actually said that first, man. Don't be the change you want to see in the world, right? That's what everybody quotes. So that man was onto something. It starts with you, and then eventually you infect other people with positivity and good vibes. And you know, my world changed when I stopped being an asshole and I started thinking of how I can have a better positive effect on myself, my life, and people around me. And I just did things that brought me joy. And from there on, I just grew mentally. And my world changed, and everything got better, and no drama, no negativity. So yeah, be the change you want to see in the world. Ilya, thank you for having me on here. Thank you, man. I love you, bro.
I love you too, brother, and thank you for joining me again. I'm gonna schedule another one. I'm gonna text you tomorrow so we could keep going because there's so many things we need to talk about.
Let's do this. Let's do it. I'm ready. Well, not
All right,
tomorrow.
bro. I'll text you tomorrow to schedule. I know you're
Yes.
busy, so I'll give you a month, and then
Yes.
5 minutes before you're gonna be scrambling for a charger.
Let's do it,
All right.
man. I'm ready.
All right. Thank you, everybody, for joining us. And again, I know it's a late night on Wednesday here, but I hope you enjoyed the podcast. Look out for the episode. If, please share it with your friends, your family, whoever needs to hear it. And we'll keep on rocking here. So thank you. Have a good night.